I'm Mandela Siziba. We welcome our SABC 3 viewers. Making headlines this hour.
From Vezo to London, the world marks Mandela Day with thousands of South Africans doing their bit to lend a helping hand.
Members of the Elders Group take part in a peace walk in tribute to Madiba.
And former President of the United States, Barack Obama, addresses the youth in Johannesburg.
In your business news, we take a look at Nelson Mandela's economic legacy.
And inflation ticks up in May.
There's some more coming up, but first let's get that word from Arabile at the JSE.
Yeah, well, the JSE in itself reacting to some news certainly coming out today. Of course, as you said, inflation, that number, 4.6%, will still be within range and still keep the investment community fairly happy, and so too will the Reserve Bank. But will it mean that the trajectory of CPI rises a little bit higher? I'll chat to Michael Traherne a little bit later about that, and just how the Asian markets are faring, having seen those growth numbers come out of last week, seems to be affecting trade as well running into today. All that and more coming up a little bit later.
As the world marks Mandela Day, thousands of South Africans are doing their bit to lend a helping hand. From big corporations to residents, most people are remembering the legacy of former President Nelson Mandela.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is taking part in a series of activities in Vezo in the Eastern Cape, the birthplace of international statesman Nelson Mandela. The Vezo Centenary celebrations, organized by the Royal House of Mandela in partnership with the Universal Peace Federation, aim to bring together people from all walks of life, as well as current and former heads of state, to honor Mandela's legacy.
These include the handing over of blankets to elderly people, bicycles to learners, and the unveiling of a sanitary towel project. The official ceremony and banquet will start this afternoon. President Ramaphosa will deliver the keynote address. Well, let's cross now to our reporter Zimkhitha Manqinana, who's standing by for us at Mvezo in the Eastern Cape, where the main event is taking place. Zimkhitha, has the event begun?
A number of dignitaries are making their way to the venue, and in any moment the event will begin. The president this morning handed over a clinic and a official opening of the machine that is going to produce sanitary towels in this area. In any moment we are expecting the president of the country, including former President Motlanthe and former President Jacob Zuma, to make their way into the marquee for the official celebrations of the 100th year since Madiba was born in this rural village of Mvezo on the 18th of July in 1918. But now we're just going to speak to someone who is in business and who comes from Qunu, where Madiba spent most of his life. And we're joined now by the CEO of SAA, Mr. Chahana. Good afternoon, sir. You are the son of the soil yourself, and you pride yourself by coming from Qunu, where Madiba comes from. How does it feel to be one of the people who are from his village?
Yes, it actually feels very, very good, but also especially when you see that the whole world and the nation is celebrating the legacy of the son of the soil. It makes the people of Mvezo and the people of Qunu feel that even though they never had time to see Madiba because of his incarceration for 27 years, they feel that the world is actually recognizing their own contribution through their contribution through the early life of Mandela, and also, of course, he was born in this area. I think it's a very good tribute to Madiba and the recognition of the people of this area.
Let's talk about black business, especially amongst young people. What are some of the things that they need to take into consideration to ensure that they participate in business, therefore contributing to the economy of this country?
It is important that black business, especially young people, do get the opportunities that are created by the freedom that Mandela, together with many of his comrades and compatriots, fought for. And this is a time where we build the country, this is a time where we have to build the economy. Only when we have an inclusive economy that we can have a sustainable democracy. So opportunities for young people, opportunities for SME, opportunities for black entrepreneurs, we need to continue to explore that so that we can create the South Africa and the world of Mandela's dream.
I've asked everyone that I've interviewed since this morning that what are they doing for their 67 minutes of plowing back to the community. What are you doing, Mr. Chagana, for your 67 minutes?
Well, I have been working very, very hard with local communities in my home village specifically. So I grew up as a development activist. Almost on an ongoing basis, I work with young people, I work with a group of youth and women in terms of contribution, where there's an early childhood development program. So later today I will be tracking back to my home village and I'll be engaging with the local NGO and to see how well we are doing with the early development center in the home village of Ikotishin as part of Kun.
Thank you very much for your time. Well, in any time, the president of the country should be making his way into the marquee. 500 guests have been invited to be in this dome marquee behind us, but there is an overflowing marquee that's going to accommodate about 1,000 people, including the ordinaries, members of this community, because there is no celebration in Madiba's name without the people of Umqhekezweni, where he grew up under the care of Chief Jongintaba Mtirara, and the people of Qunu, where he spent most of his life after coming from prison, and of course the people of Mvezo, where the entire celebrations will be taking place. A lot of people are looking forward to the address by the president of the country, especially the issues of youth development, because they want to see a reflection of all those commitments that are made by several leaders into making a change in their lives. As you can see behind us, people are making their way through here, this VIP area, and we will bring you the updates as the event continues.
Thanks very much, Zimkita, for that report.
Deputy President David Mabuza